Hi everybody, welcome back to another Real Talk with Dr. Jim Sharps. Real great pleasure to have you with us again, Dr. Jim. In this series, Real Talk, we're looking at health topics from the perspective of original medicine, and we really just want to inform people, give people the information, enough information to start their journey if they want to explore more about natural medicine and alternative approaches and alternative models to health outside of the conventional model of medicine. So this is really what we're wanting to do. That's our goal, that's our objective. You can look at some of the other series and videos that we have on the channel, or really to inform. Those of you that have been following along, you know that we're currently doing a series on RBTI, means biological theory of ionization. We did a broad overview, and where we're at now is really just going through each of the tests in a little more detail so you can be informed as to exactly what RBTI means and how it can positively impact your life. So Dr. Jim, thanks once again. This week we'll be looking at conductivity. So perhaps if you could just, before we get into the question, just tell us what conductivity is as a test within the RBTI framework means.
Yes, conductivity, they're looking at the electrical conductivity through the body. So the way the brain communicates with the liver and the rest of the organs is through the electricity system of the body.
And how does the test work then? How does the conductivity test work?
Yes, good question. It's very simple to measure. There's a conductivity meter, and all you need is a couple of drops of urine that you put right in there, and it will tell you what the conductivity level is.
And the conductivity level, just at a very basic level, it's how easily electricity can pass through?
Well, it's measuring the amount of salts in the body. So the way the electricity is conducted through the body is through electrolytes, through salts. And as you know, there's two types of salts. There's the chloride salts, which a lot of people are familiar with. The most popular being sodium chloride, but there's magnesium chloride, potassium chloride. There's a number of chlorides. And then there's mineral salts, or what are called electrolytes. And that is the communication vehicle that the body uses to communicate between cells.
Okay, wonderful. And Dr. Jim, perhaps you can tell us, what does this conductivity test tell us about diet and lifestyle?
Very good question. Obviously, it's going to tell you the level of salts. There's an ideal level, and then it could be either too high or too low. And then based on where it is, either in the too high level or in the too level, it has implications in terms of various health outcomes, for which there's a lot of different diseases, names that you can attach to those considerations. But that's basically what it is. It's measuring that, and if it's too high, there's too much congestion, there's too much electrical stimulation, and if it's too low, there's too little electrical stimulation. So obviously you can tell if the body needs an optimum amount, and based on how far you're drifting in the too high or the too low, they're going to have different implications in terms of signs, symptoms, or health outcomes.
And so what do good numbers signify then? We talked about, what does it say about diet and lifestyle,
right.
But what do good numbers mean? Excellent
question. Good numbers signify that you have a well-managed diet, that you have enough water in the diet. If you're dehydrated, then that number is going to be too high. If you're overhydrated, it's going to be too low. So it tells you a lot about the diet, the proper hydration of the body, and things of that nature. And if, for example, if it's high, then the question you want to ask, well, where are the salts coming from? Is it because you're putting too much salt in the diet? Is it because the type of foods that you're eating contain salts in them? Is your body creating too much salts? And there are also the metabolic processes that can create salts. So looking at it in isolation, it will tell you that. But then when you look at it with the other numbers, it gives you really good clues as to how the body is functioning and the various implications.
And in terms of, you mentioned if the salts are high,
Mm-hmm.
you've given us an example of that. What if the salts are low and you're more overhydrated? How would that manifest in terms of somebody who's watching this video? They haven't done their numbers, but what might be some signs that the numbers would say very clearly, but that somebody who hasn't done a test might, oh, okay, maybe this could be a sign that I'm overhydrated. I need to maybe look into this or perhaps get an RBTI test myself.
Wow, you can't imagine how powerful that question is, because it has implications for people who are so-called on a good diet and lifestyle, as well as those that are on a poor diet and lifestyle. And so you kind of know that you can be overhydrated. Water's good for you, but you have a lot of people that that are taking too much water, and they might be on a great vegetarian diet, etc. But the implication of that, if you're overhydrated, those electrolytes are too low. And the implications are fatigue, low energy. You really shouldn't be dealing with heavy vehicles. You can pass out. You just don't have the energy. You don't have the force to be able to function well. You can go into seizure. And so, things of that nature. And so a lot, like I keep saying, there's a lot of these named diseases, but the issue can really be identified to one of or more of these factors that we talk about in RBTI. In this particular case, the conductivity level, or the that whole issue of whether you're too high or too low. So if your diet and your lifestyle are in that healing range, in that perfect range, obviously you're going to have good systemic function. You're going to be healthy, you're going to have good emotions, etc. And then based on how it relates to some of the other numbers, it can have various kinds of implications. So that is a very powerful question. That's just talking about the low side. There are even other serious implications if it's too high.
That's clear. And just a final question then, Dr. Jim. You mentioned, consistently when we've looked at RBTI and looked more specifically at each of the tests, you said, look, it's not the numbers in isolation. The different elements are addressed together. So what are some of the key interrelations between conductivity? We've covered saliva and urine pH, but what are some of the key relationships with the conductivity tests and the other 6 parts of the RBTI test?
Yes, another very powerful question, and you're absolutely right. No number stands alone, and anytime one number changes, the whole equation changes. So that's a very powerful statement that you made. And there's a couple of key interrelationships. One is with that first number that we talked about, the Brix level or the sugar level, because if that's too high, that also requires water. But then you need that balancing act. What if the sugar level is too low and you're too high in the conductivity area? And water will help that. But if you do water, then this will go down. So that's where that balancing act comes in terms of that relationship. So there's a very strong relationship between the conductivity number and the Brix number, or the carbs analysis number. And then it also has implications. We haven't talked about this yet, so we talk about it maybe again later. But the ureas, which is the last part of the formula. Because remember we said there's different kinds of salts. The ureas are salts. They're nitrogenous salts. They're the result of protein breakdown, etc. in the body. So that conductivity has the strongest relationship to the first number and that last set of numbers in terms of the implications for health and vitality.
Dr. Jim, I really appreciate you just giving us an initial overview. So I hope if you're watching that you've appreciated this very brief overview of the conductivity element of the RBTI test. If you are interested in knowing more, please do leave us a comment. We do keep an eye on our comments. If you'd like to request more details on anything that Dr. Jim has covered today, again, please do leave us a comment. And certainly do hit like and subscribe, and hit the bell notification so you know when we've released a new video if you're interested in knowing more about natural approaches from the perspective of original medicine. Dr. Jim, thank you very much. Everyone that's been watching along, thank you again, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.
Quite welcome. Bye for now. God bless.